second season. I put a poll up on YouTube. 100 and some odd people responded to it, saying that 65% or something last I checked was that season 2 was better than season 1. Does that ring true to you?
I could try and give you a bullshit answer, but I honestly don't remember. If I'm looking at these,
I don't think season 1 to me is more of an Enterprise show.
mm-hmm.
And I think that the general problem with season 2 is that it kind of felt like it moved away from its premise quite a bit, and it just became generic Star Trek episode season.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't have the charm of Breaking the Ice in the first season, or Fortunate Son, or even like the Andorian and Vulcan stuff. Like, it kind of abandons all that and it moves into episodes like Marauders, Night in Sick Bay, Dead Stop, which are all varying in quality and everything. But just looking at the chart here, obviously you can see that it went through a tremendous terrible section in the middle of it, where we went from Night in Sick Bay all the way down to Precious Cargo. Is a pretty rough stretch of red right there. We talked about how Night in Sick Bay to the 7th was maybe the worst stretch of Star Trek we'd seen since doing this, because it's the first time there have been 3 consecutive ones in any series, which is pretty impressive, all things considered. It kind of recovered towards the end. I walk away from this season, and I know it's been a long time trying to remember it, but especially since we've already recorded a couple season 3 episodes, seasons 1 and 2 of the show just have no direction to them, is the real big problem. There's like no backstory that you want to sink your teeth into. They try with the Vulcans and the Andorians. They try with the Temporal Cold War. None of that stuff is interesting or good. And so after a certain point, it just became really C- to D+ Star Trek episodes over and over and over and over and over again. And even towards the end here, like I'm not telling anybody about even Cogenitor, I don't think. Like, Cogenitor isn't making my top 10 Star Trek list. You know, it's a good episode, but it's not on there. You can take it anywhere from that. So that's my general takeaway of the season, is that I'm in a year from now, these 2 seasons of Enterprise are going to be my least memorable seasons of Star Trek that we've covered so far, I think.
Yeah, I would agree with that. You know, it's funny to look at these numbers. Season 2 has 3 1s in a row and then a 2. Like that big chunk is mostly 1s and 2s, but it's actually more. It's weird because the first season seems to is more consistently
subpar.
Subpar. Whereas season 2 is a little bit more all over the place for us. You get, like, we only had 1 5 in season. Only I had a 5. Well, I guess you've yet to do a 5.
I've never given a 5 to an Enterprise. Yeah.
But we didn't know. Neither of us had a 1 in season 1, and most of our ratings kind of match up. It's either like a 2 or a 3.
Yep.
And it kind of puts to the test the idea that is a show that is more consistent better. Is a show that's more subpar but more consistent better than a show that fluctuates all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I don't think it is, because if you're going through a section like in season 1 where we've got, at least on my end, 9 2s, a 3, and a 5. Like that 5 is going to stand out a lot more because it's surrounded by mostly 2s and a 3.
Yep.
You know? So yeah, it seems like at least in season 1, the high points were like kind of an oasis.
They were, yeah. There's not many of them, as you say.
I mean, like I'm sorry, I was just gonna say season 1, it's mostly 2s. After the high point, which is Dear Doctor, it's mostly 2s, and then we end on a 4. And I don't know if that 4 is a legit 4 or if it's just
we have to go back and recalibrate ourselves. I would agree that season 2 is definitely up and down much more. I think in general, I would prefer a show to be up and down more than just a consistent 3 the whole way through. Certainly for the podcast, I think that it's a better outcome to be highs and lows. I think that I don't think that Enterprise's highs are that high. I think it has tremendously low lows is the problem.
Yeah.
So I just walk away from this thinking it was 2 seasons of Star Trek that didn't really stick with me. And I think in general, I just prefer the first season because maybe it was more novel when we were watching it because it was a new season off of DS9. Maybe the show actually did a better job of exploring what it means to be an Enterprise show. And the second season didn't do that. And maybe that's why I consider it more memorable. But I have a fondness for episodes like Breaking the Ice, which isn't even very good. But I just remember them like chasing the comet and walking on it and being like impressed by that and being like, oh, that's kind of a neat Enterprise take on things. Season 2 doesn't really have a lot of that. And the best examples like Cogenitor, they make a good episode that's also a good Star Trek Enterprise episode at the same time. And it kind of, it achieves off of that level. But